right, here we go. Let's get this day started. Let's get the show on the road. So, of course, we are talking about for sale by owners. We got this week, we got next week. So, let's continue to move on and create value, break down the scripts. Let's go ahead and I want to get some role playing today as well. So, I want to continue to just move in that direction. As usual, I want to start off with seeing if anybody has any questions, any comments, any concerns regarding anything that I can actually address. I want you to feel free to just go ahead and, of course, just jump right in. The For those of you that are over on Instagram, those of you that are over on Facebook, I'm going to encourage you to come join us over on Zoom. As I've mentioned before, this is one of those things where it's kind of like watching a movie, and you just have to be able to watch the entire thing. Now, just because you jumped in late doesn't mean that there is no value. I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page, that you just want to tune in as much as you possibly can, because the more you tune in, the more you're able to capture. If you tune in for just one day, it makes it a little bit challenging because I break it down as detailed as I possibly can. So with that being said, again, those of you guys that are over on Instagram, those of you that are over on Facebook, come join us over on Zoom because I'm going to be sharing the script today. All right. So questions, comments, concerns, anything from that direction that I can address. How about moving in the direction of the other day on Tuesday when I asked the question, why we're having hesitance, resistance on calling, whether it's for sale by owners, expires, or just picking up the phone, prospecting, anything from anything. What are the reasons why we're having a little bit of a hard time either picking up the phone, getting results? What are some things that you guys are dealing with? So, all right, well, let's go ahead and continue. Let's break down the scripts. All right, so there we go. Perfect. Thank you, Joanna. I appreciate that. Confidence. Who else lacks confidence besides everybody? Okay. I'm going to tell you this right now, Joanna. Ultimately, I've been doing this now for 25 years. And even to this very day, I still get nervous calling for sale by owners. I still get nervous calling expireds. Now, how do I get over it? Well, you just have to just simply just jump in. And I know it sounds silly, and I know it sounds too simple of an answer, but the more you jump in, the easier it gets. And sometimes we find ourselves in a position where we oversell ourselves in regards to we don't know what to say, which is part of building that confidence. Or number two, the scary of the unknown. Okay, this big hairy monster that's going to be underneath the bed. Okay, this big hairy monster that's in the closet that's lurking. These for sale by owners that are going to be yelling at me, screaming at me. They're going to be asking me questions, and I don't even know how to respond to it. Well, like anything else, the more you do it, the more consistent you do it, the better the results are going to be. And so for you, Joanna, and then of course everybody else, number one, to gain the confidence, we have to learn with what to say, which is the purpose of this class. Okay. Number two is we have to do the execution, and that's the part that I do feel a little concerned with the audience not doing the strongest job is on the execution, because in the execution, that's where we start to get the they hung up on me. Oh my gosh, they slammed the door in my face. Oh my gosh, they asked me a question that I didn't even know the answer to it. Oh my gosh, that was so embarrassing. All of those things. And trust me, everybody goes through it. The difference, however, between the people that have a high level of success and those that don't succeed well is primarily the execution of it. And what I mean by that is that they go through, they understand, they get those challenges. And when we get those challenges, whether it is an answer to a question we don't have, okay, or the demeanor, or the how to approach them, or how to get the phone numbers, or all of these things, when we get on the other side of that, okay, we have to understand success is on the other side of failure, but we have to go through the failure process before we can succeed. And in confidence, how we gain that, number one, is of course learning the language of sales. That way we can have the ability to communicate. This is why I challenge you. Thank you for attending, all of you. Okay, but just attending isn't enough. You have to role play. You have to practice. You have to chant them, write the scripts out. Get to a point where you can feel some version of how and what do I say. Number two, the execution of it. The execution of it is going to put you in a position where you're going to go through and identify the areas of opportunities. They hung up on me. I didn't know what to say in this position. I didn't even know the answer to that question. And then you start to practice it. And as you practice it, you're going to find yourself and go, okay, Robert said what's stopping you from making the move right now? Oh, yeah, I remember that question. And you ask them and they go, um, I don't know, really haven't thought about it. I guess we just kind of pushed it out to the summertime. Well, why don't we get together to see if it might make more sense to do it now versus doing it later? Um, yeah, sure. I mean, I guess why not? Let's get together. And I don't want to promise you anything, but sure, we can get together now. Oh my gosh, I got an appointment. So in that, what I want you guys to do is one, work on the language of sales. Number two is go through the process of execution. Actually apply this. Okay, because we can speak in theory all day long. So to answer your question, Joanna, it takes time to build that confidence, but you can expedite it by doing it. Okay. The more you do it, the better that we get the results. And you're very welcome. Okay. Thank you for asking the question. Okay. What other questions can I address? Because we all have challenges. I know that we don't have this perfected. I don't have a single person on here. Raise your hand if you do. If you're closing two, three, four for sale by owners a month. Okay. So ask.
Yeah, this isn't really a question, but one thing I'm working on, and I've had some positive results, is not hoarding leads, not keeping leads. It's more of a mindset. If I feel like if I'm in a good position because I have hundreds of leads, I'm not going to really go after that person as hard as I should be. That's ready to go right now. So I've been working on that lately. It's been a total mindset shift. So it's really, I mean, it's like I'm a hoarder of leads, and I have to get out of this hoarding of leads. And doing it is like it kind of blew me away this week by by doing that.
Yeah, for sure. And I appreciate you sharing that. And that's a very good statement. Let me add on to that for everybody. That's part of the enablement that we create in terms of within ourselves. The names and numbers of with what you're talking about, Declan, is not even in a sense leads. And even if they were leads, there is zero benefit to leads. Okay. And what I mean by that is this. When was the last time we could go and deposit leads into our bank account? Right? So they have zero value until even then we turn them into appointments and they still don't have any value. And even the appointments that do sign the contracts, they still don't have any value. Okay. Until we get them into a position of course, closing. Okay. So in that, every single day we have to start with zero. We have to act as if though we have zero leads, zero business, zero listings, because that gives us a different perspective. When we start the day and saying, oh, I got 100 leads, and then we look at it in the grand scheme of things, then we go, well, that's not really 100 leads. It's 100 names and numbers. And if I really track this over the next 2 years, those 100 names and numbers, maybe about 10 or 15 of them actually did something. And of those 10 and 15 that actually did something, there's probably about, let's say, of the 10, 8 or 9 of them ended up doing it with somebody else. So in reality, these 100 names that we have is really one or two viable actual deals. And if we look at it from that perspective, oh shoot, I got to go find another one. Okay. So, and I appreciate the comment because it is important that we all understand this because we find ourselves, oh, look at that. Okay, I find myself doing this. Okay, we got this $1.3 million listing. We got this other 1.5 coming up this next month. We got this other $600,000 deal coming up. And then all of a sudden, boom, give you an example. 2 weeks ago, I had $3 million, actually, no, $3.7 million worth of volume that I don't want to say I was accounting on, but I was pretty confident that I was going to get. And all three of them, the exact same week, boom, we decided to go with a different agent. We decided we're just going to simply hold off. We decided we're going to end up selling it ourselves. What the heck? This has never happened to me. And it all happened to me in the exact same week. Okay, so even to the best of us, that happens to clients. So we just want to make sure we, of course, take a little bit of a different approach. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and move on. Let's continue to move forward. I want to make sure that I continue to break down the scripts. And again, for those of you guys that are over on Instagram, thank you for joining us. The Zoom ID is there. I'm going to encourage you to come join us over on Zoom as I'm going to break down the script, which I can't share with you guys over on Instagram. Okay. So let me go ahead and share a screen here. Give me 1 second. And then while I'm doing this, all right. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to role play. Who wants to be my for sale by owner? Declan, thank you for participating. Okay. So in this, what I basically want to do is I'm the agent and I'm just going to go through and I'm going to give you guys a little bit of an example. Okay. And what I mean by that is that very first week, a typical conversation and just play whatever role you want to play. A typical for sale by owner on that first week is going to be right around three, four, five, maybe six questions answered. Okay. Now, of that, there's a good percentage of the time that, hey, if you got a buyer, bring them by, or they simply hang up on us. Anything from that direction, we'll find ourselves in that very first call. I'm going to continue to break it down call after call after call. So, Declan, if you don't mind, I'd love for you to be the agent, or sorry, for me to be the agent and for you to be the for sale by owner. And you don't have to be obnoxious. I just want to be able to break it down a little bit with the entire audience. Okay.
Okay.
So here
Yep.
we go. So ring ring.
Hello?
Hello. I was calling about the home for sale. Is this the owner?
This is Declan. Who's this?
Oh, awesome. My name is Robert. I'm a local realtor. The reason I'm calling you is I help a lot of for sale by owners in the area, and I was wondering, when you sell this home, where are you guys planning on moving to next?
Yeah, if you have a buyer, that's great. I'll pay you 2%.
Oh,
Otherwise,
awesome. Okay.
otherwise I'm
Yeah.
good.
Awesome. I really appreciate that. So you said 2%?
Yeah.
Ah, perfect. Let me go ahead and write that down. So when you do actually get that buyer, you do pay the agent that 2%. Where are you guys planning on moving to, by the way?
I'm not sure yet. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Okay.
Haven't really looked.
Awesome. Do you guys currently live in the home or is this a rental property of yours?
Do you have a buyer?
I do. I have an inventory of buyers that are looking for homes here in the area. My job is to get to know all of the properties that are not only in the MLS, but including properties that are off the MLS, including yours. So, going back to as far as the location is concerned, or actually this home, do you guys live here or is this a rental property?
Yeah, my parents passed away, so I moved in. I'm kind of fixing it up, and yeah, so it was yeah, so that's why I'm not sure where I'm going to move to next after I sell this. So
Understood, understood. So now is this your primary residence now, or is this something that you're just kind of helping out in terms of getting the property sold?
it's both. I'm living
Both.
here and I'm getting it sold. Yeah,
Got it. Okay, so you don't have a plan B. Your plan B is basically getting this property sold and then moving to wherever you're moving to next.
that's right.
All right. Well, I'm sorry to hear about your parents, but tell me a little bit about your timeframes. How soon are you wanting to get this property sold?
Yeah, I just want I time frame. I'm okay because I'm living here. I'm enjoying it. I want 1.6 million.
Okay.
I know that's what it's worth. So I'm sticking to my price, 1.6 million.
I love that. Okay, so you got a price already, so you have 1.6 million. I am curious though, how'd you determine that sales price?
We've done so many upgrades to this. The pool is awesome. We've done so much work to it that I'm looking around the other homes in the area, and we're just superior to everybody else.
There we go. So you basically ran some your own comps. You kind of took it from there. You determined a value, and you figured that 1.6 was kind of that landing spot.
Yes.
So how would you rate your motivation to move on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being I absolutely need to get this home sold yesterday?
Yeah, probably about 9.
Okay, good. So you're in a position where you're highly motivated. You want to get this property sold and you want to go ahead and move on over to that next place. Now, share with me a little bit about your marketing. What are you currently doing to market?
Oh, it's on Zillow.
Okay, so you got it on Zillow. Anything else you're doing?
No.
How are the bites on Zillow so far?
At first they were good, but it's kind of quieted down here lately.
Ah, I got it. And how long have you been on the market, by the way?
3 weeks.
3 weeks. Okay, so you've been on the market for 3 weeks. Any offers, or are they just a bunch of realtors and a bunch of tire kickers calling you?
But yeah, a bunch of people kind of wasting my time so far.
Yeah, yeah, I totally get that, and I understand, and that's very common for, unfortunately, for sale by owners, figuring they put the home on Zillow, you're going to get all of these buyers coming in, and unfortunately, the complete opposite. All you're doing is getting realtors and investors giving you lowball offers. So now you did mention that 1.6 million. You did, of course, actually run some of your own comps.
Mhm.
Now, are you in a position to adjust your price down when working with a buyer, by the way?
I know it's worth 1.6, so I mean, um, I'm gonna stick to that price.
Got it. Okay. Now you've been on there for about 3 weeks. Any offers in those 3 weeks?
No, no offers.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Okay. Now, I am curious though, why did you decide to sell yourself rather than list with a real estate agent?
I don't, I have had some bad experience with real estate agents in the past, putting up bad pictures, not communicating.
Oh,
Yeah, just
oh.
going quiet on me.
I completely understand where you're coming from. And here's the worst part about it is I got to work with these people. I've been doing this now for 25 years and I know exactly what you're talking about. By the way, I didn't get your name. What was your name?
Declan.
Declan, awesome. Thank you so much. I
Yeah.
really appreciate that. Again, Robert Villanueva, I'm a local realtor here. You know, what I'd like to do is I'd love the opportunity to show you with what I do different from a lot of the other realtors. I'm looking at your address here. I'm actually going to be out in the neighborhood today around 3 o'clock. Is there any chance I can stop by after about 4 o'clock, or I can always stop by at 5 o'clock to visit your home?
Yeah, 5 o'clock's actually best for me.
All right, perfect. Now let's stop right here. So I can go in one of two different directions. Okay, I can continue to push in the direction of an appointment, and I can go through and I can proceed in the direction as if though this is an appointment. Or Declan can all of a sudden, which will happen, all of a sudden take a quick hard left, and basically in that is going to be the, well, what's the purpose of you coming over? Okay. Or are you going to be bringing in a buyer? Is that what you're going to be doing? Anything from that direction. And all of a sudden there's that backpedaling. Oh, no, 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 no. I thought you were going to bring a buyer. Oh, no, no, no. I thought you understand what I'm getting at? Now, in this, I'm still going to push forward and I say, Declan, here's the thing. Why don't I do this? Why don't I just simply come and view the home for myself instead of having all of my buyers come through? Because I don't even know if it's going to be the right fit. I haven't even seen your home. I don't know any of the details. Well, it's a 4 bedroom, 3 bath. It's got this, it's got that, it's got this other stuff. I totally get that. And I'm sure you can appreciate the fact that the last thing I want to do is be bringing by a fake buyer. I don't know if any other realtors have done that. Or I can, or of course, bringing two, three, five buyers that maybe don't even qualify for your home. I mean, you mentioned to me that you are asking for that 1.6. The last thing I want to do is bring a buyer that doesn't even qualify for that. Let me take a look at it in the eyes for myself, and I can determine which is going to be a better fit. Okay. By the way, don't worry about it. I'm not going to be one of those cheesy realtors that's going to turn our appointment into a listing appointment. All I want to do is just preview the home and see if it's a fit. If it's not for one of my buyers, maybe one of my future buyers. You guys got that? Now, from there, let's say, for example, I move forward and we turn it into a preview. I got most of the questions answered, but I didn't get all the questions answered. What are some things? Let me open it up to the audience. What are some things that I lacked in what I did? Anybody? Come on. I talk about this all the time. Motivation. I could have got deeper in regards to motivation. Okay. So Declan, tell me a little bit about with the property. You obviously shared with me the your parents passing. I'm sure there's a lot of memories in this. What is it that you're most looking forward to in your next move? How is this going to impact you? Why is this move so important for you? Have you even just simply considered staying with the home? All of, in a sense, these things. So I want to be able to go through a processing of that. And when I go and visit Declan in person, I'm going to finish the rest of the questions. I'm going to go through and I might even start with I don't remember you. I know you mentioned that you were wanting to just simply sell this home and you were going to kind of figure things out later as to where you're going to go. Where were you wanting to go to? Where would you prefer to go to? I didn't get that. So I got to fill in that blank. Okay. And then I asked the question of on a scale of 1 to 10, you said a 9. So it sounds to me as if that you really want to get this property sold sooner rather than later. Now I'm going to ask some negative questions. Well, what if the property doesn't sell in the next 3 months? What if the property doesn't sell in the next 6 months? What does that look like for you? Oh, well, there's no way I can afford this home. Okay. Just absolutely not. I'm just not in a position where I could do that. Okay. I have a good job, but not a good enough job to be paying or affording a house like this. Do you guys get with what I'm saying? Okay. So in that preview, I'm going to go through and ask the rest of the questions, which is on here. And again, for those of you guys that are over on Instagram, you got to come join us over on Zoom. Now, in there, the questions that I'm asking, it's going to give me the opportunity to have a clearer picture. Okay. In that, I want you guys to also take everything that's on here, turn it into a fill in the blank, put your company letterhead at the very, very top. And then when they're sitting there saying, well, what are you writing down? Oh, I just prepared some questions in advance. I just want to make sure that I was thorough in regards to knowing your situation, your circumstances, and what you're trying to accomplish. I hope that's okay with you. Okay. Now, before I leave the home, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, Declan, I know I can be of some help. I mean, I imagine this is probably a little bit of a bigger project than you were wanting or anticipating. I mean, you probably figured you'd come in, put the home on Zillow, get a buyer, and then boom, just move on with your life. Unfortunately, that's not always the case. I'm curious, have you ever sold a home on your own before? No, I haven't. Okay. Or yes, I have. And if they say, yes, I have, good. I'm glad I'm working with somebody who actually has experience. However, I'm sure you're noticing this market is a little bit different than other markets in the past, right? Yeah. Either way, I'm putting myself in a position where I can wedge myself in there. Okay. And let's say, for example, Declan is actually a bachelor. It's just he himself has nothing else, but he's got to go do his job and his 9 to 5er, right? Well, who's taking care of the showings? Who's doing all this other stuff? Yeah, I know it's been a little bit much, but I've been pushing all these showings as much as I can to Saturday and Sunday. Declan, look, I get it. Here's the problem. I don't know if you're aware of the fact that usually for sale by owners sell their homes 27% less than an average realtor. Okay. What do you mean 27%? I'm not going to be selling my house here for 1.2 million. No, 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 no. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm referring to is the profits that an agent can make versus a for sale by owner. Most of the time, because of lack of negotiating skills, the lack of ability to be able to pin up buyers because of the lack of exposure, people will leave 27%. In other words, if you had $100,000 profit on the line, you're going to potentially lose 20, 25, 30%. Well, how's that even possible? Well, that's exactly why we need to sit down and talk about it. Let me show you. Okay. You're trying to save 3% or 6% at the expense of 27%. Does that ever make any sense? Well, it doesn't even make sense as you're telling me. That's exactly why we need to sit down and talk. You guys got that? Okay. So questions, comments, concerns, observations. What are some things that it's okay? I was a little foggy in this area, and it's okay. I'm going to re-break it all down. I want to make sure we're all on the same page. Okay. So in that, remember what's on here. This is, of course, the for sale by owner script. On the back side of it, okay, here's all the scripts. On the back side of it is going to be the pre-qualification. Okay. Now you'll notice I have pre-qualification for the listing presentation script. Oh, look at that. Pre-qualifying investor listing script. Anybody ever seen that one? Nope. Guess who has it? I do. Okay. Because I work with a lot of investors. Okay. If you guys want a copy of it, again, you guys know the drill. Send me a DM. I'll get you guys the scripts. Okay. So, all right, moving on. Questions, comments, concerns, observations, hallucinations, ideations I can actually address. All right, let's go back. Let's talk a little bit about theory. I want to continue to further break this down. I don't know if there's any questions on here. Let's take a look. Okay. So Michael basically mentioned in regards to empathy. Yeah, absolutely. In regards to that empathy is concerned. Here's the part that no doubts I could have done a better job in terms of the empathy. I'm obviously just trying to showcase a little bit in regards to the process versus the emotions. But in the empathy, when I'm in person, empathy is going to be way over the top. Okay. Because in this gives me the opportunity to now include body language. This gives me now the opportunity to be able to be understanding of the situation. Because I'm going to now be in the presence. And in the presence, I'm going to be able to say, so share with me, what were some of your fondest memories? Wow. Man, tell me a little bit about what your dad liked most about the house. What about mom? Okay. What's probably your fondest memory? Oh my gosh. I could just imagine you being so I appreciate you, Michael. So awesome. Thank you for calling me out in regards to that. Okay. But that's the part where we have to understand it's an entire process. Okay? It's an entire process in that. My job, our job is to get in that door as quickly as we possibly can. We got a question here on Instagram. Oscar's asking, would you recommend going on preview appointments, even though it's their third week on market? Oh my gosh, this is a great question. Thank you. All right. So the question again, let me repeat it. Should we go on previews in that first, second, or third week? The answer is absolutely not. Just kidding. No, I want you guys to go to the previews as quickly as you can. Okay. Here's the reason for it. Because, Oscar, in that question, when you're calling over the phone, again, remember, every market's a little bit different, but I'm going to use an example of the LA market. If you're in LA, you're servicing anything in the LA metro area, for sale by owners, you're competing with 100 to 200 realtors on that very first week. But in person, how many are you competing with in person? Probably about 5 to 10. So would you rather be competing with 100 to 200 or 5 to 10? Now, when you go in preview, it gives you the opportunity to now have the face to face. It gives you the opportunity to be able to say, Oscar, hey, it's Robert, the realtor, the one that came by on Saturday. Oh, yeah. Hey, what's up, Robert? You see what I'm saying? Versus the, hey, we spoke last week. We did. I don't remember. I mean, there's a bunch of you guys calling me. That's where it puts you at, Oscar. Okay, so make sure you understand that. Now, the other side of it, I'm going to ask of you to proceed with caution. I don't want you becoming this preview expert, because if you guys become these preview experts, all you're doing is setting up previews and not closing on anything. Okay. There's two focal points. Okay, two focal points, as I talked about at the beginning of the month. The two focal points, number one is going to be the top three zip codes. Number two is going to be the top three cities. If those properties for sale by owners fall in those top three zip codes or top three cities, yes, go out and visit them, because this is the market you're focusing on and you're going after. Do I want you to preview a property that's 45 minutes away? Absolutely not. Okay, that's a waste of time. 45 minutes there, 45 minutes on the way there, 45 minutes actually at the home, and then another 45 minutes back. You invested almost 3 hours of time for what? Okay. But if it's 5, 10, 15 minutes around the block, yes, go out and visit it as quickly as you possibly can. And the key is week after week after week after week after week, you have to follow up with them, because the more you follow up with them, the more you get the opportunity to basically, Declan, hey, it's Robert. How's it going? Good. Awesome. Hey, Saturday, you ended up going over to wherever, right? How was that? Good. That's awesome. Okay. Hey, by the way, again, obviously I'm doing my job, giving you a call. Just wanted to check in. How did the weekend go? Any bites yet so far? No? Okay. No. Okay. Got it. Did you get my lender's contact information? You did. Okay, great. You have the escrow's contact information. Hey, by the way, who are you going to be using for title when you do end up finding that buyer? I am wedging myself in there. I am just, boom, anchoring myself right to that listing. So when it comes time to, I'm going to be interviewing, I'm done. I'm going to interview realtors. I got to interview that Robert dude. I'm not necessarily saying I'm getting it, but I'm putting myself on that VIP list. Okay. I'm getting into that dance. Okay. So I might not get bottle service, but at least I'm in the club. All right. Questions, comments, concerns. We've got 30, 60 seconds. All right. So today's class, okay, I'm actually out of town. Some of you guys may or may not know, but I'm out of town. And so today's class, the objection handlers class, we're going to be moving that over to next Thursday. So I do apologize about moving some of these classes. This week's trip was kind of a little bit of unexpected. So if you guys are, of course, wanting more information about coaching, please let me know. The other thing too is I'm actually going out and doing tours. So if you can put together 20 agents, I'm going to go out and visit you. Okay, so if you guys are in California, Arizona, Nevada, if you guys can put 20 agents together, let me know. We can set up a time and I'll come out to your office and I'll even do a class for you guys. Okay, so thank you guys all for participating. Thank you guys, of course, Instagram, Facebook, Zoom. Thank you for continuing to help me grow this audience. Let's go out, take a listing or five, and I'll see you guys next Tuesday at 7:30 in the morning. I'll see you guys then. Have a good one.